All right, Mark Rogers TV talking some ACC recruiting with Mike McDaniel from inside the ACC with four significant players looking at several teams inside the ACC and across the nation. All right, Mike, let's size it up, starting with wide receiver Cameron Sullivan-Brown out of Laurel, Maryland, a top recruit out of that state.
Yeah, he's one of the top 15 wide receiver recruits in the state of Maryland. He's out of Laurel, 6'1", 175, three-star receiver. He just recently picked up an offer from Duke. He's also considering Maryland and Syracuse. And I think with Sullivan-Brown, it's still a little bit early in the process, but one thing to watch with him is how important is it for him to catch passes, because I think looking at Duke and Maryland, there's so many question marks at quarterback. Obviously, Duke lost Thomas Sirk to injury late in the year, but who's going to be behind him moving forward? Because Sirk's going to be a senior. So with Cameron Sullivan-Brown potentially coming into the fold, if he ends up selecting Duke, who's going to throw him the ball? That's going to be a big question. Same with Maryland as well. But I think with Syracuse, it's more of a known commodity as far as the offense that Dino Babbage is going to bring to the table in his first couple of seasons there for the Orange. So out of the three spots for Sullivan-Brown, at least initially here, the class of 2017 recruit, I think Syracuse would make the most sense, but he did really seem to enjoy his Duke visit, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, according to what I've got here from Rivals and 24/7, the 77th and 84th ranked wide receiver, according to those two services. A number of other teams in the mix on the periphery. The schools that you listed, definitely the ones that he is seriously considering at this point. Throw in a recent offer from Northwestern. You got BC in the mix as well. And also, just yesterday, Penn State jumped into the mix with an offer on Cameron Sullivan-Brown. All right, we go to the often mentioned athlete position where kids are typically looking at wide receiver, DB, and quarterback when you see that category right there. Markquese Bell out of a very talent-rich state in Bridgeton, New Jersey, looking around the ACC as well.
Yeah, Markquese Bell is an athlete in every sense of the word. Five-star, 6'3", 190-pound recruit. Recently just got done with his visit to Michigan. He attended the spring game there for Jim Harbaugh's team and really seemed to enjoy the school. He's a guy that's going to have any offer he really wants. He's a guy that ran the 100-meter dash in 11.1 seconds and has a 6'10" high jump as his best mark there in his track and field days. So he has that going for him. He's an absolute freak. A guy is going to be very highly touted as he continues to receive offers. A plethora of schools have already shown interest, aforementioned Michigan, but as well as Virginia Tech and North Carolina and the ACC. He's also got offers from Florida, Georgia, and Penn State as well. James Franklin recruiting pretty hard out of the state of New Jersey of late, and Markquese Bell will be no different. An absolute no-brainer for James Franklin to go after him at Penn State, but there are more intriguing offers on the table there with Virginia Tech, North Carolina, and Michigan perhaps leading the way for Markquese Bell.
Listen to this, Mike. As a freshman, Markquese Bell got his hands on the football, running the football twice in 11 varsity games, 62 yards on 2 carries, a 49-yard touchdown. As a freshman, he caught 11 passes at 21 yards per reception. Then they moved him to quarterback. As a sophomore, he completed 41 of 70 for 4 touchdowns and 3 picks, and obviously was a factor in the running game as well, carrying 33 times at 8+ yards per carry, 59-yard run, his longest on the season, and 4 touchdowns. So running back primarily with some wide receiver work as a freshman, quarterback as a sophomore, then as a junior, gets most of his work at wide receiver, 34 catches. 34 rushes out of the backfield, 6.1 per carry, 52 catches, 800 yards, 15+ per reception, 11 touchdowns. So he's moved all over the field. It's pretty much, where do we need him? Where can we get him the football in space and let him do his thing? So in 3 years of varsity football, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, that's pretty amazing out of Markquese Bell. All right, our last recruit for 2017, we go to the offensive line out of Atlanta, talent-rich metro area there, and Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, I guess it's not a huge surprise that Clemson is pulling for him pretty hard, recruiting him extremely hard out of the state of Georgia. Dabo Swinney has done a lot of work in that Atlanta metropolitan area. Andrew Thomas is no different. Four-star offensive tackle, 6'5", 285. He visited Clemson again recently. He's visited the school a couple times here over the past 2 or 3 months, and he's a guy that Dabo Swinney would like to really add to the fold on the offensive line because, look, Clemson's offense has really excelled here over the past couple of seasons, and it continues to evolve, and a lot of that has to do with the ability for the offensive line to keep the given quarterback upright. And in this case, the last couple of seasons, it's been Deshaun Watson. We're expecting when Andrew Thomas steps on campus in 2017, Deshaun Watson will be preparing for the NFL draft. So may not necessarily be protecting him, but he's a guy that could definitely factor into the fold at Clemson if he so chooses. So Andrew Thomas, one big-time recruit to watch at offensive tackle.
Yeah, again, some recent studies we've seen out there really surveying high school football talent. Atlanta, one of the best areas in the country, along with, of course, South Florida, certain parts of Texas and Southern California. Now we move up to 2018, and one last note on Andrew Thomas, just announced today, and he mentioned this on his Twitter, that he was selected for the 2017 U.S. Army All-American game as well, and that's a very prestigious honor for any high school football player. Now we go to 2018. We hit on the quarterback position with Jarren Williams, Mike.
Yeah, Jarren Williams, class of 2018 recruit, dual threat quarterback, 6'3", 205, a guy that can really move around in the pocket. He's shown the ability to do so on tape. He's out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's impressed at a lot of recruiting camps held by Rivals, Scout. 24/7 has held some camps as well, and Jarren Williams has attended all three. He has offers from Louisville and Florida State currently. Of course, it's still early in the process, having 2 full years left to recruit his talents. But, as soon as Florida State and Louisville jump on you, you got to be a pretty special recruit, as they have historically recruited very good quarterbacks at those schools. So Jarren Williams is a guy we're definitely going to have to keep an eye out for here over the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, so Jarren Williams, we're looking ahead to 2018 in terms of hitting a college campus. So he's just completing his sophomore campaign in high school football, played 9 games at quarterback, completed 47% of his passes. I'm sure a number of drops considering the talent most likely around him. And, of course, very talented, but probably a little bit erratic. Threw it 279 times, so he's getting a lot of reps in at this point, 14 touchdowns and 10 picks. And, of course, a threat running the ball, 342 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So Jarren Williams with a couple more years to hone his talents before he most likely hits campus either at Louisville or Florida State. Mike McDaniel sizing up the ACC recruiting rounds with 4 of the top commits coming up for 2017 and 2018. Join us on Inside the ACC each and every week. Also, our ACC Breakdown show is posted there each and every Wednesday night. All right, Mike, thanks a lot.
I appreciate it, Mark. Thanks.